Hello my grandbabies, I am Don, your medieval pop culture grandpa. Now, if you are no stranger to this channel, you should know that I love the South African artist Tyla, which might be controversial to say because she is kind of universally disliked online outside of her core fan base for numerous reasons, and some of those reasons I will get into in this video. During the global splash of her single Water in 2023, she was projected to being the next huge international global success, following in the footsteps of notable names like Shakira and Rihanna, because they share similar come-up stories of leaving my homeland and making it big in the United States. And technically, Tyla did broke through and quote-unquote made it in the US. However, after her smash single eventually died down, the singer's career trajectory became shaky because, oh no, she hasn't had another follow-up single that matched or surpassed the success of Water. Now, if you don't know Water, you haven't heard it before, here's a video of Blac Chyna's mom saying the lyrics while being annoyed.
Make me sweat, whatever, make me hotter.
After Water, what instead pursued was mainly damaging controversy, resulting in a lot of online discourse that the vivacious South African artist's career is fizzling out. So in this video, let's focus on Tyla's career and why people might be right about her career falling apart. I am Don, your pop culture boy. Let's get into it.
Catastrophic.
As I mentioned earlier, I've talked about Tyla several times, and I've even made a dedicated video here on this channel. Since that dedicated video, the animosity towards Tyla is a part of a bigger problem. Watch that video if you haven't. In that video, I talked about the growing implications of her racial identity once she started penetrating the US music scene, and how the diaspora wars has affected her career along with the many conversations she's been in, such as her being an uppity African, she's a mean girl, and the infamous industry plant title that has been attached to her image since her inception as the newest from the continent of Africa that will take the world by storm. Since that video, the microscope of scrutiny, online cancellations, along with penetrating bombastic side eyes has only intensified. I don't know about you, but it appears to be Tyla's music is very much the last thing on the general public's mind, at least in the US. There's no doubt she has fans, but her fan base isn't that large where she can rely solely on her base in the same capacity when compared to Nicki Minaj's cult known as the Barbs, or Beyonce's coven that is the Beehive. The point I'm making is the general public has control over Tyla's career, for now at least. Her fanbase is way too small to keep her afloat or to drown out the negativity that surrounds her. Again, this is based on her US reception, and the US audience for the most part can't stand her ass right now. But all of that can change in the blink of an eye. One of the last, let's say, backlash Tyla got was regarding her Coachella outfit, taking inspiration from Britney Spears' iconic 2001 VMA's I'm a Slave for You performance, according to online users. Now, if you can't remember anything, constantly being bombarded with brain fog, like me, let me refresh your memory on this silly yet sorta kinda pivotal moment before it all started feeling like a fever dream. The speculation started after Tyla wore a green bra during the second weekend of the Coachella Music Festival. The look included a pair of unbuttoned, unzipped shorts. The piece was also adorned with beaded and green fringes as well as safety pins. Now, when we do a side-by-side comparison, back in 2001, Britney wore a draped, cut-out green bra top, which was adorned with pink jewels at the center and on the spaghetti straps. Spears paired the look with tiny shorts featuring a butterfly motif and a series of charms hanging on the waistline. The look also included a long, flowy blue-green fabric cascading down her legs. Needless to say, the looks are almost identical. After being called out or being called a copycat, Tyla responded to a now deleted tweet that read, "I know a Britney Spears reference when I see one." Homegirl saw that tweet and fired back replying, "Love her, but I just thought the outfit was fly. No inspo."
Bullshit! She better not have!
A response that made the situation bigger than it was, which I'll explain why in a bit. Another user hopped on the thread saying, "I personally think she's a copycat and too full of herself. To which Tyla followed that with, "Personally, I think you should shut the fuck up."
Lord Jesus.
While I understand the desire to clap back at trolls or setting the record straight, in this case I think the better response would have been no response at all, because it is a petty situation. Plus her response came off as dismissive and a little hostile, I'm not gonna lie. She said there's no inspo when the looks are identical, and it's not that she quote unquote lied that made the situation worse. No, because pop stars lie all the time. People lie all the time. Look at SZA. SZA lies all the time, but is the biggest R&B star in the world right now. What made it worse had more to do with the cultural clash that is already setting her back in her career. There's multiple narratives out there that she's an uppity African who thinks she's better than Americans floating around. Hence, her saying no inspo can resonate as a slap in the face to the American audience, as it appears she's taking from an American pop icon while being perceived as somewhat tone deaf towards American culture, which is the main reason why I'm bringing up this insignificant turned significant situation. A better response would have been along the line of, I had no idea, honestly, when I chose the outfit. Britney never came to my mind. However, I am now looking at the side by side and oh my god, they are similar. But I love Britney Spears, she's so iconic. What a coincidence, eh? If you could choose the scope of success of your first major single, what would you choose? A worldwide global hit that gets overplayed to death, or a chill bop that misses the charts completely? After the impact of Tyla's single Water, it flooded the pop landscape, dominated TikTok due to its viral dance trend, and peaked in the Hot 100's top 10, all of which sounds like a blessing for Tyla. However, thus far it has turned out to be a curse, which I'm now coining the water curse. You see, whenever an artist is catapulted to stardom at such a fast rate like Tyla has, it set the artist up where audiences' expectation of said artist goes through the roof, which isn't always a good thing, as when expectations are set extremely high, it's almost impossible to reach. During Water's hype, Tyla's team did what any artist camp would have done, ensuring she got exposure through social media posts, interviews, brand deals, and yes, the release of more singles in order to extend her name in the music zeitgeist. But unlike Water, the singles that followed failed to make an impact on the same level, instead hitting the minor charts such as the hip-hop and R&B category, which gave us insight on her main demographic. Outside of Water, Push to Start is the only track that has managed to enter the Hot 100, but its peak at number 88 shows that the general public wasn't that into it, despite it being a bop and a summer jam. So with the failure of these singles, it's an indicator that Tyla's career is currently in limbo, as you're only as successful as your last single in this current climate in music. Water has set these standards really high, and it appears Tyla is struggling to catch up. When Water happened, I wasn't ready. I became obsessed with the idea of doing things right. I wanted more time to make mistakes to fully figure out who I am as an artist, but things just went, well, you know, said the singer in a recent interview with Variety. Also, she released an EP a while ago titled WWP, and it's being reported by social media accounts that it sold 3.7K in the first week. Bear in mind, it's a 4-track EP that is a part of a larger mixtape set to be fully released sometime this year. I don't think it's that serious, but a lot of people are clowning her over it. Personally, if you're not a huge artist, and even then, I don't think it's fair to be pressured to sell a lot in regards to EPs and mixtapes, because these are projects artists put out to mainly feed their audience or feed their core. There's no doubt about it. We are currently in the best time to be a musical artist, seeing how easily accessible artist DIY information is on the internet. You can record yourself, do the bare minimum in terms of production value, go viral and get discovered, and the next thing you know it, you're signing a $500,000 recording contract with a major label, who would then take that viral song, maybe give it a more professional studio feel, and start marketing said viral song to radio and streaming services. Before you know it, you're an overnight success, baby, and everyone's asking, where the fuck did you came from? Which leads us to the next point, the curse of blowing up too fast. What does Ice Spice, Lil Nas X, Jack Harlow, and Tyla all have in common? They all blew up too fast, which is a caveat people tend to ignore when an act is on their journey of stardom. Because while getting fame really fast can work in your favor, it can be a double-edged sword. Because the faster you rise, the quicker you fall. And unlike the 2000s and prior, it is a lot more noticeable when an artist is falling off due to social media and how news about the downfall of insert artist name travels at light speed. Today, you can watch an artist's career fall in front of your eyes, right on your phone. Their Spotify monthly listeners go down, they start losing followers across their socials during a scandal, and there is the trend of canceling campaigns. And I'm not saying artists are supposed to stay on top forever, although who wouldn't? But like I said, before the social media era, when an artist fell off, people went on with their day. Back then, you'd randomly wonder what happened to Chameleonaire, Mike Jones, or Cat DeLuna, and moved on with your day. There was something very human about being hot today and not the next back then. But now, baby, it's an event, way more newsworthy and the new spectacle. And to clarify, fast fame isn't necessarily synonymous with a premature career. Rather, the period between an artist getting a little mainstream attention or traction on social media to them skyrocketing in the public. So one can experience fast fame even if they've been in the game for 10 years. An artist that is currently going against the grain of being overly saturated in the public is Pinkpantheress, aka Pink Panthy. Her team could have easily given her the Ice Spice stimulus package, which was to make Ice seem larger than she really was. However, Pink and her team haven't taken that route. Instead, Pink and her team has taken the route of focusing on her core audience and really paying attention to her peers' mistakes such as Ice Spice and Tyla, who are now fighting to match their initial success. With her gradual rise, Pink is being granted a level of acceptance that Tyla doesn't have. And it's not that no one knows who Pink is. No, we all know who Pink is. But it feels like she doesn't want to know who everyone else is, which makes her more intimate in this fast-paced music climate, resulting in normal expectations from the public, which works in her favor because the element of surprise is on her side. Going forward, I think this will now be the new standard for newer artists to take more time to develop before, trying to impact the wider audience, even more time when compared to artists of the past. The industry need to figure out a way how to make artists fail in silence again, because it's all a part of the artist development process. We also cannot ignore that there is a cultural aspect that is negatively impacting Tyla's career. While her dominant style, I'm a Piano, stands out in the bigger picture, and please don't take this the wrong way, but it's not watered down enough for the American audience to rock with it, or they aren't acclimatized to the genre, considering Tyla is the first South African soloist in over 55 years to enter the Hot 100. Also in South Africa, I'm a Piano became popular in the 2010s, so Tyla is kind of a pioneer of the genre in this day and age. Also, pioneering can be dangerous work, meaning they tend to get the shit end of the stick. In regards to Tyla's personality, as I mentioned, she's vivacious and she comes off as on all the time, like a showgirl. Many interpret her confidence and queen-like demeanor as bratty or conceited. And I can see where people are coming from, although I disagree. Across the board, audiences love when new acts are humble and grateful. Because Tyla's an outsider in the US, I think people want to humble her in that regard, before the extension of grace and full support. The climate towards non-Americans in America is also very hostile right now, which I also think is at play here, even in regards to musicians. When Rihanna debuted in 2005, she was humble, the girl next door, the girl that was glad to be in the room, not the bad gal Americans know and accept today. There was character arc, character progression from sweet to aggressive, and unapologetic. With Tyla, she came in unapologetic, sweet, but a little sassy, which is a turn-off for some. And it's also causing the audience to expect a lot from her and anticipating her downfall, because we don't have this same level of pressure and expectations with other African artists like Nigerians, Ayra Starr, and Thames. Even Burna Boy, whose last album debuted at number 200 on the Billboard's 200 album chart, selling 8K in the first week, but no one cares. In regards to Ayra Starr and Thames, they don't have to do crazy numbers, and it's completely fine because we aren't expecting that. We are mainly expecting good music. Many are speculating that Tyla is at a crossroads in her career, from the clapbacks on Twitter and the fact that she's posted a TikTok a few weeks ago telling her audience that she's doing her own hair for an appearance in Barbados.
Get ready with me for my show in Barbados. Listen guys, I like my makeup. I have to style my own hair because the budget. So I have to I'm gonna try curl a few pieces and then see if I can spread it out or something. But hopefully, the only thing I'm hoping is that it doesn't look empty on stage because I have a whole light behind me. So, and I'm also trying to figure out like what outfit I wear because I have two options. One is like a dress and I've never done it. So I'm a bit like,
Now, a lot of her fans have interpreted this as a kind of whistleblowing for her career not going her way. Budget. Tyla, blink twice if management is not giving you your dollars, says one comment under the video. Now, while this might seem a little alarming to some, it's not uncommon for artists to do their own makeup and hair when they travel abroad or go on tour, especially for newer artists. And then there is the color thing, which I don't really want to get into because I already have. But there has been an update in that situation. So she recently did an interview with Variety where she addressed the situation where Charlemagne the God asked her to explain her being colored during the heights of that conversation. That conversation was really confusing for me. I understood both sides of the story, but I was left asking, okay, but what do I do now when who you are is challenged, especially when it's all you ever known? It shakes you. You want to stand your ground because if you don't, someone else will try to define it for you. Why hasn't Tyla's career taken off in a way we expected it should have after Water? When Tyla was introduced to the wider world, her career very much represented the exposed tip of an iceberg, a precursor of fast fame, where fame is a lot more harder to hold on to in this era where we are more tapped into the drama and career woes. In regards to Tyla's iceberg, a lot of people don't really understand what's underneath the water, which lies the true Tyla, not the vivacious persona, but something real. Not calling her fake, I'm just saying the facade, which is what we mainly see, which makes sense. But I think people don't know her through her music, and it's posing a real threat to her career. She makes great music, but safe music. She's controversial, but her controversy has nothing to do with her artistry, which is where her controversy should really be for us to take her seriously. Her music is good, but is she really saying anything? Not really. So she's controversial, but her music isn't daring, like a Sabrina Carpenter, who have mastered making public outrage ultimately promote the music. I don't think she needs to code switch or bow down to the American audience that can't stand her. Rather, walk that line of outrage with a message behind it, because so far the music doesn't fit the personality. History tells us that well-behaved women don't make history. So be the brat and the uppity African that they want you to be. And it appears she's about to do just that. I had more time to work on this album than I did the first, so I have a lot of songs. It feels really current this time. I'm living what I'm singing, and it feels way more personal, way more like me, said Tyla in her interview with Variety. That is all I have for this video. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section. Do you agree or disagree with me? Just let me know. Don't be shy. Also, follow me on my second channel /podcast, Late Night with Don-Anjelo. Over there, I'm on my Wendy Williams shit.
What was that?
My voice kind of cracked a little bit throughout the video. My voice kind of went, but I pushed through anyway. Anyway, that's all I have. I am Don, your pop culture boy, and your pop culture medieval grandpa. I'll see you in the next one.